What's up, guys? Laserman here. Welcome to Meditations. Appreciate you guys for coming by. Like this video if you will, subscribe to the page, and swat that bell so you're notified next time I post a video. So, there's been a lot of talk, of course, on YouTube about the little season and so forth, about how we're in it right now. And of course, there are others then who say that this is the new heaven and earth, right? And there are others who say that neither of which has occurred yet. That we're just all waiting for the rapture or something, right? Waiting for tribulation. Waiting for the book of Revelation to come to fruition. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways they're going about with all this stuff. And I've made several videos on the topics. Just my theories and so forth. But I wanted to bring something up that I haven't heard about before, ever. Never heard anyone talk about it. And its relevance and association with the concept of forever. All right? Because some, of course, say, I mean, it's kind of a hard thing for me to care to think of much, but they'll say that this is the new heaven and earth or whatever, right? There's a lot of suffering here, isn't there? There's a lot of suffering here. This place sucks, in my opinion. And it seems that, according to Genesis, the curse had to do with the sweating from the brow. You know what I'm saying? The toiling. The pain, as far as I see it. Pain in childbirth. Of course, I'm a guy, so don't really have to deal with that, but that definitely still seems to be something that's going on, and it's a product of the curse. I mean, it seems to me that there's not much reason to speculate that this is the end all yet. You know what I mean? That the end of the age has occurred and new heaven, new earth is for that. I mean, these things could mean different things. Who knows? But here's what I wanted to bring up. It's interesting how our minds are designed, if you will. All right. Like, for example, you know what man has created, as far as we know anyway, which I suppose is an arguable thing as well, but let's just say that man created technology, all right? Man created the computer or cell phone that you're using right now. Man created the digital world. What's interesting is these technological constructs, they function in a sort of all or nothing way, where it's either there or it's not, or it's either in or it's out. It's the ones and the zeros, you know what I mean? That make up the world of technology, basically, that make up the digital world, or the man-made world, perhaps. Like with a computer, it's either there or it's not, you know? It can either calculate something or it can't, and it can be broken down to its simplest core and observed and deconstructed. Whereas our minds, rather than, are something completely different. Because they have the memory that we have. Things can come in and go out, but then there's this sort of hazy area about it where we can think for a moment, can be like, oh yeah, I think I was there before. Oh yeah, I think I visited that place one time. I'm trying to think. I mean, it was like 15 years ago. You know, it's interesting how, well, for all, isn't there a science where like 90% of our brains aren't being utilized or something? Maybe that's part of the fallen world where they used to be utilized, but not anymore. But that's kind of beside the point. It's interesting how that's kind of the difference between like the man-made world and perhaps what God made. And how perfect and fitting it is that our minds aren't similar to the man-made world in that they do, it is kind of the, it's like waves, you know, it's like a river. And a river, it can just keep going and going and going. And it's never stuck, you know, it doesn't like circle back where it's just all, it's just like fused together and it's the same of what it was in the past, you know what I mean? It's always a little different because it's wavy. Like music and sound waves. It's interesting that that's kind of like the essence of our minds and our memories and our imaginations and those sort of metaphysical things. But my point is, the mind, I think, could potentially be evidence that we were designed to live forever. All right? Our immortality, if you will. Because there's almost a sort of finiteness about it, which I guess you could say is essential if we are destined to live forever. Because you could almost then re-experience things all over again. Like, you know, when people, they'll say, oh yeah, I wish I could just watch that movie again for the first time. I just remember how amazing that was. And it's often said in the video game world as well, because I play some video games, not many, but some. They'll say, wow, if I could go back and experience that game for the first time, just how amazing that would be. Or to experience tastes, all right? Or smells. It's like the mind was designed for a temple or it was designed for a form or a machine or whatever you want to call our bodies. That could potentially go on forever. Because it starts to turn into those waves, you know what I mean? And you never really enter that same exact wave again. It can just keep going on forever and ever. because that river, it can go like this, it can widen. And then you have all those little waves within the river. And as it continues on forever, it just continually gets wider. Evermore or something. And it's like, so it never reverts back. You know what I mean? It never has to, and it never will. So it just seems like we could exist forever and never relive the same thing again if it just continually expands. And there's all the organic waves within it. And as it expands, there are more waves. You know what I mean? More wavelengths and pulses and things like that. And some rhythms in the mix, you know what I mean? But, I mean, it seems like it could be evidence that we're made to live forever. Because what if our minds were like computers, like what man has made? And if they were easily distinguishable and dissectable and broken down? But that's not the case. And what a great thing, I guess you could say it is. Say, like, we could stick with a partner, right? And you could, like, be with them ongoing. And always kind of experience new things with them, you know what I mean? And I forgot where I was going with that, but anyway. I'll make more videos on this concept, perhaps. But what do you guys have to say about that? It's kind of a nice thing. I mean, and to my understanding, the idea in Genesis and the Bible and all that, new heaven and earth. I mean, it's interesting how no matter which way you spin it, no pun intended, this ground that we stand on, all right? You know what I mean? How they say that it expands forever and ever, universe or whatnot, goes way out. Then you have the other folks who say that it's like a plane or something. Perhaps that could go on forever as well, beyond the walls or whatnot. But it seems like no matter which way you spin it, that it could be always, it could continually be added to. Like if we're talking about God, right, the concept of God, it seems like God could continually expand it all. Whether or not you want to call it the universe or the earth, you know what I mean? From east to west, this and that. That it could just continually expand. Just allowing and enabling endless variability. That could be something really to look forward to. Just endless discovery and experience. And what a fine mesh it is. Our minds and our memories. The fact that you could almost kind of forget some of it. And you could almost kind of relive it again. Only you're not. And just how perfect that is. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace be with you.